Thank you. I'd like to deliver another Dharma message, kind of separate from our Halloween part of the service. And I'd like to follow up a little bit on this idea of authenticity and what that might mean. I think that different Buddhist schools would approach this very differently and might not even consider authenticity important at all. I'm not sure. But Jodo Shinshu, it is, I think, and but it's not easy to understand. It's definitely coming out of a kind of a specific context of the founder of our school, Shinran Shonin, who I think was, as a monk for 20 years, starting at age 9, trying to be a good monk, trying to walk the path, trying to be a bodhisattva maybe even, and trying to improve himself and not fall into the 3 poisons and all that kind of thing, and found that he couldn't. I think my feeling is that the harder he tried, the worse it got. And it's a really interesting take on Buddhism, right? He actually left the mountain. He left the monastery and went down into the city, and that's when he was able to encounter Honen, his teacher, and the teaching of Namu Amida Butsu and exclusive recitation of the Nembutsu with Amida Buddha's infinite wisdom and compassion. So what does that mean, right? And so part of it, the way this works out for me, one way, and this is how I kind of am thinking about it today, is one part is be yourself, faults and all, right? That you don't have to feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I need to fix myself first, right? That somehow I'm not worthy, that I'm not a good person. Right? And so therefore I'm kind of excluded or something, right? No, Amida Buddha accepts you as you are. Right? That's a really important aspect of Jodo Shinshu. And the Japanese term is sono mama, as you are. You don't have to feel like I need to fix myself first, then I'll be good enough to be able to come to temple or be Buddhist or go to the Pure Land or however we want to think about it. No, be yourself, faults and all. But a flip side that I like to think about is accept others as they are. Now, both of these are really hard. I mean, they sound kind of easy, right? Just be myself, okay. Accept others, sure. But I think both of these are both by themselves really difficult. To do both is really difficult, but maybe they kind of feed into each other too. It's kind of a paradox in a way, because I was thinking, well, what if something someone else does really bugs me, really makes me mad? If I'm supposed to be myself, shouldn't I then feel justified getting mad? And so in a way, yes, get mad. But do you indulge in it? Do you feel justified in it? Or is that not an opportunity to kind of stop and think and reflect? Right? And maybe think about, wait a second, why am I getting so mad? Why did that really push my buttons? And, I don't know, but in some cases, the things that bug us about other people, we actually have in ourselves, right? That can be kind of painful to realize, right? That the thing I feel so justified in being angry and frustrated about in someone else might actually be something that I do, but I don't see it. So much easier to see it in someone else than to see it in myself, right? But if I can find that and realize that, right, that, whoa, maybe I'm like that too, right? And maybe I can ask too, am I being judgmental, right? When I feel justified getting mad at this person, it kind of implies that I'm better, right? That I have a kind of a higher vantage point to be able to judge this person and then feel justified getting angry, right? And so that implication that maybe I think I'm better, even if I don't think that consciously, maybe subconsciously, right? Somehow my opinion is more valid, right? That I'm right. That's really annoying. So I don't know, each case is different, each person's different, each relationship is different, each moment is different. And yet, I think that whichever way we end up going, I ended up with kind of a flow chart or something, right? I didn't have options. It's just a singular kind of flow chart. But if I'm able to see myself better through this exercise, through this interaction, through this emotional reaction, right, then that's a good thing. Right? That I think is another important part of Shinshu is this self-reflection and trying to really see myself, which again is not easy. To be yourself, part of it is seeing yourself. And sometimes the stuff that I initially view as negative, right? What's their problem? How can you do that? Man, that bugs me. Right? If I take the time to reflect afterwards, right, and then realize, whoa, I do that too. Oh my gosh. Right? Then actually this thing that I viewed as negative can be turned around into a positive. Right? And I can see, wow, that I learned something about myself through this interaction. Right? I'm trying to think of an example, and one example that's kind of hard to give because it's recent, and all the names have been changed to protect the guilty and the innocent. But we had our ministers' meeting, our Bay District ministers' meeting yesterday. And we're deciding some stuff, and I guess I have some strong opinions about a few things, and so I voiced them. Other people in the group were strangely quiet, but for whatever reason, I felt justified offering my opinions, and another minister who maybe was in charge of this other thing disagreed, and so I, strongly stated my opinion, and then realized, you know what, just let it go, and so I shut up. And we moved on to other things. Today, an email went out, and it was put forth, my idea, but then felt the minister said, but, rather than that, I think it's better to do it this way. And it was a timing issue, right? I was saying 5 minutes, and I was like, well, yeah, maybe 10, 15 minutes. The other minister suggested 15 to 20 minutes. Way longer than I think it should be. But all I could think was, that's my fault, right? I felt so important to express my opinion that it kind of backfired. And I think I pushed the other minister actually too far in the other direction. Whereas if I just let it go, it might have just been 10 or 15, right? And so at first I was like, ugh. But then I was like, it's my fault, right? I knew. I could feel it. I felt it even after the meeting. Why did I have to push that so hard? But I did, right? That's me sometimes. And, so that interaction was very interesting. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to latch on to it. That's another thing. It's like, am I really going to latch on to my opinion as if it's so important and so right? Or am I willing to compromise, willing to let that go and see how things go? I can't control the situation 100%. I can't control other people. I can't control this email. So maybe, it will end up somewhere in the middle. But that was just kind of an interesting interaction when I could almost in the moment see that maybe I shouldn't be pushing my opinion so much, and yet did. And then see the aftermath and be willing to accept it because I realized that I played a role in it. Rather than rail against what I see as wrong, to realize I am one opinion of many, right? And I tried. Maybe I didn't try as well as I could have. Maybe a better way would have been not to push my opinion so hard and push for a kind of a more in-between kind of compromise position. But, oh well. If other people side with me after the fact, I can say, I told you so, which I'll try not to do. Who knows? Or maybe it'll work out perfect. Maybe my being that way ended up working out great. I don't know, right? I just have to kind of let it out into the universe and let things work themselves out because it's not about me. There's all these causes and conditions, right? All these different aspects, conditions, circumstances that lead to each next moment. So we can't just totally disengage, but also maybe don't want to attach to our opinions so much. So when we think about treating other people too, I think this is kind of going back to last week's Dharma talk with Skunk, right? And I know I'm judgmental. I know that I form opinions immediately about people or about people's actions or their appearance or whatever, but I try not to hold on to them so much, right? Try and let people be themselves and appreciate them for who they are, right? Overlook some of the stuff that bugs me maybe, or maybe try and sympathize and understand where that comes from. Right? It's not easy. This is samsara, right? Life is hard. Society is difficult. Human beings living together is difficult, right? For us to, whether in a small group or as a society, as a city or as a country or in the world, right? It's not easy to be together as human beings. But I do feel like Buddhism gives us insight into how we might be able to do that, right? How we might be able to live a Buddhist life. A life of the AAA life, right? The awareness, appreciation, and authenticity. And so, I just wanted to offer these thoughts on authenticity and kind of go run with it for a while, right? Think about it. You can think about it. You don't have to believe what I said. It also came up in my class. I had a teacher, psychology class, and the teacher said the first thing he said was treat everything I say like I'm a used car salesman, right? Kick the tires. Double check, right? Look up on your own, right? So don't believe me just because I'm an authority figure, right? Hopefully this stuff resonates because I'm not making it up. I'm making some of it up from my own experience, but I'm also trying to learn from my teachers too. Like, so the AAA life comes from Reverend Dr. David Matsumoto, who is currently president of Institute of Buddhist Studies, but was also a minister at the Berkeley Buddhist Temple and the Stockton Buddhist Church. And, he was one of my teachers when I came out as a student, right? So try to get learn from other people, listen, but bring it into your life. Try it out. Apply it to your life. See if it works or not. And I feel, right, as these Buddhist principles, I hope that they help in your life, that it resonates with you, and if so, that you continue to investigate and listen to the Dharma. So thank you very much. Kind of a short talk and kind of a funny time, right, with Halloween and election coming up and still in the midst of this pandemic. But again, I really feel like Buddhist teachings can help us through all of this. So why don't we conclude with the most important part of all, reciting the name of the Buddha, the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. Okay, thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.